Hello, my name is Neil Orvey from Evolution U, and I'm going to introduce our high-stakes communication training. Now, this training is split into two sections. The first section talks about micromessages. Micromessages as pioneered by Stephen Young in the book, Micromessages, The Power of Small. So what is a micromessage? Well, a micromessage is a seemingly small, non-verbal communication. This can be a facial expression or it can be body language. And if you think about it, micromessages are something we have been giving off since birth. Way before we learn to speak, we are communicating our emotions. Micromessaging is the basis of communication. Now, why is this important? Well, in the workplace, we tend to give off two types of micromessage. There's a good type, which we call a micro-advantage. It's when we smile, we nod approval, we show somebody that we like them or we respect them and think that what they're saying is valuable. They're great. The problem is we give off a lot of micro-inequities. The term micro-inequity was coined by Dr. Mary Rowe from the MIT Business Institute. This is extreme. We don't normally see people punching each other, hopefully, in the office, but what we do give are small indications that we don't agree, that we think that person's incompetent, that we think they're not adding value. Small huffs, puffs, looking at our watch, facial expressions that communicate we don't really think that person should be there. And those have huge impacts. They're called micro not because the impact is small, it's because we think they're not that important. But when you do this to people who are your subordinates or even peers, it can have an enormous impact on their productivity and confidence level, thus impacting organizations. Major global organizations, the likes of Intel and Merck, have rolled this training out across their management teams. It's very powerful content. The second part that we focus on is when communications turn critical. Because what often happens is one person communicates and the other listens and maybe doesn't respond in the right way. The result is that we end up having a communication that goes from being perfectly friendly to dangerously critical. And there can be three elements that create a communication that turns critical. One of those is where we have opposing opinions, very common in business environments. A second is where there are high stakes on the table. And the third, the real elephant in the room, is emotional content. When the emotions get involved, all of our training and our knowledge seems to go out the window. We know this very often from family situations where emotions rise to the top a lot quicker than necessarily in business situations. When we are in a critical communication, it is something we know about because information stops flowing. We start arguing or we start going silent and not communicating any longer. Anytime we find ourselves stuck where information isn't flowing, it is an indication that we are in a critical communication or that we should be holding a critical communication. Because if we don't, it has huge impact. Not only in terms of our business results, but on our health. Research has shown that we tend to live longer and happier when we're able to hold these sorts of communication. So this is not just about business. It's about our personal life, our relationships, and our health. When communication doesn't work, we tend to go into one of two streets or one of two routes, both of which are considered the fool's choice because they're easy to do. One of those is just being silent. Rather than risk saying something, we think if we say nothing, it'll disappear. Or alternatively, we go into violence. Violence is when we respond aggressively to try and force our meaning and take control. Both of these result in inefficient outcomes and impact both our personal and our business results. One of the techniques that we introduce in this training to understand how to get leverage on those situations and stop them from happening is the process of where we take fact, what we see and what we hear, and how that results in an action. The critical part here is the story that we tell ourselves. If we understand what stories we're telling ourselves based on the facts and how they result in emotions and actions, we have a point of leverage. If you'd like to know more about how to get that point of leverage, how to take control of situations, hold critical communications, and get results, contact us at Evolution U, www.evolution-u.com. Thank you.